This is the sound of the Killa Kela Beatbox Body Part Sample Pack. Over 120 loops, samples, and one-shots for your music production. Exclusively on Splice.
It's a fine-tuned operational machine.
Professionally.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, before he keeps talking, would you please show your appreciation from the outside into the man like Conrank, producer extraordinaire, dubstep. What's it? It's dubstep, essentially.
Bass music.
Bass music.
Bass music.
Bass music.
Yeah.
I've known him for a long time, and you're about to get to know him.
You're one of the few people I can't lie to in any way at all. Like, there's nothing I could even side swipe or anything because you know fucking everything.
This could be either your best or your worst you've ever had.
Well, I tell you what, I'm redlining on that motherfucker.
Yeah,
so.
well, that means you just got to tone your
I'll try.
Sussex voice down a little bit.
I'll try a little bit.
That's a bit better. We can
I'll just move back.
It's just mic control, mate. Mic control. So Conrank hails from, Shanghai, but we grew up together.
No, I don't hail from Shanghai.
Well, you kind of do.
Yeah, kind of.
Right. So your wife lives in Shanghai.
Yeah. My dog.
Your dog lives in Shanghai. Love your friends.
I have a house in Shanghai.
You flit from there and LA.
Yeah.
Would you say you lived in LA?
I'd say if people ask me where I live, I say I live in LA and Shanghai.
Why? Why LA though?
Because I'm there 6 months of the year and I'm in fucking Shanghai 6 months of the year.
All right, okay. I mean, I'd like to say I lived in LA.
Well, are you there 6 months a year?
No.
Well, there we go.
But I could still say it.
You could say it, yeah, you could say it.
Well, in a
no,
world
I was planning on moving officially, but my wife's super busy in China, and so it would be unfair of me to just pull her out of what she knows and be like, so I spend half my life on planes.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And then my family's in the UK, so I'm like, I've got this Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, and a lot of points, premium points on your flights. Hey, listen, so but how do you feel about that? Because we'll get into some other deeper stuff, but generally,
yeah, I feel like we've skipped right to the end.
Yeah. Well, I know, because I know everyone's going to get bored after like 15 minutes of this. It's just going to be us just arguing or something. Look, we got history. We clearly got history. Right, let's take it back. We go back to go forward. Right, where did Conrank start?
Actually, you were a large part of where Conrank started. I mean, Conrank started before the name Conrank started. Conrank started, years before when I was like 14 and I bought a set of SoundLab DLP-1s, the worst turntables in the world. It started when you taught me to beatbox and I bought a little 4-track recorder and started making beats. It started it started a long time ago, but I suppose when it really kicked off was when I just kind of had enough of what I had going on in London and I just fully embraced the music and realized I felt like I was kind of pushing music. I was scared to like really give it a go. Do you know what I mean? Because I was like, I felt like people were going to be like,
judgmental.
So you're making music now. Oh, right. So this is what you're doing now. Yeah, whatever kind of thing. So I was like scared of giving it a go. Firstly, because I didn't want to fail.
Right.
And secondly, because I thought people were just going to thinking I was just like jumping on some bandwagon or just like, oh, some of my friends make music, I'm going to try too or something like that. I don't know. I just felt there was this nervousness of doing it. But anyway, you and me are living in Tottenham and I'd had kind of enough of everything that I had going on and a few little kind of life changes happened and I was like, I remember I had about 6 weeks of being in my house alone. You were on tour. My ex was away. And I just literally sat there with Logic Pro, ringing up a couple of friends, like my friend Go, Basher, and like just going, what's happening here? Why doesn't this work? Mm-hmm. And just learning and I probably wrote like 50 tracks in that time. I put 2 of them out on, I started a little record label, just signed up to a little distributor so I felt like if I had somewhere to put the music, I'd be even more excited to make it.
Yeah.
And then at the end of that little 6 weeks, I remember playing you stuff and you were like, let's do a little thing.
Oh yeah.
Remember? It was like, And you were like, it's going to be Kela and then my name was going to come next, right? And we were going to get in the studio and just have these little jams. And I was like, yeah, I'm super down. And then I remember you were like, yeah, it's going to be Kela and at the time I was doing some like electro house thing with my mate Joe under Super Milkmen, like. I
wasn't actually gonna mention that, mate. But as soon as you open the floodgates, go on, carry on. See, like I said, the worst and best interview you'll ever have.
That I shouldn't have. Yeah, actually, let's cut that. So anyway, and I didn't want to like use that name because it was totally different, totally on a different vibe. And I remember just sitting there, and the last three letters of my real name are CON. And there was that whole like top ranking thing, and it just kind of came out Kela and Conrank, and I was like, Conrank. It literally, I was like, just like sitting there on my own in my living room, just like spitting out words. Because Conrank just came out.
Because you know what's weird about it? It's like when you said it to me, I actually literally had to go and have a look online to see if there was anybody with that name. Because it sounds like something you already know.
Yeah. It was weird. A few people were like, that's interesting, like that works. And a few people were like,
what's it mean?
What the fuck's Conrank? And it doesn't mean... I mean, there's no, like, deep meaning behind it. But where did Conrank start? Conrank started by me having enough with what was happening in my life. I was doing a lot of stupid stuff in my life because I wasn't really truly happy. And honestly, music... And I was like, I need to be happy. I need to just take a risk and do something I want to do. Yeah. And music was what I did. And I honestly never looked back. And it was the best decision I've ever made.
You was like always with like different people, like because of your background prior to the music was like it was all about media and video making and editing and that world. So you'd already kind of created a bit of a kind of a database, an address book to people just on the premise that you did the Indelible video magazine for MTV2, you've done the music videos for XYZ people, and you were also working with companies to do things. Like you already had like the structure that would garner you to be able to do whatever you wanted, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and it was all kind of music based. So there was, I felt like as well being around people like you definitely. I mean, as a kid, I was always like getting out doing things. Like I'd come home from school and just like be doing, like I'd build something in the garage or like try and like edit skate videos with like 2 VHS players. And like I'd always be trying to do something productive. And but definitely hanging out with all these people in music and see how hard they work, seeing how hard you worked. Like I've said this in a bunch of interviews with other people, is like seeing how hard Kela worked. It just made me realize it's like, I mean, this week I've got the week off. I'm seeing my family and I'm back in the UK.
And don't I bloody know about it,
and it's really hard. It's like, I literally yesterday I woke up and I was like, I've got nothing to do. And it's like, because I've been around all these people and like I've learned what it is. I've then, when I started getting into music, I started putting a lot of pressure on myself and started really like just booting myself fucking up the ass and being like, if you really want this, now's the time. You've got to get on. So when I stop, even if it's like for a holiday or something, I feel really guilty.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. So that tenacity, like, because I've always, like you say, you've always been quite bright when it comes to asserting yourself and being creative or doing something, just occupying your time. Like, you are like a dog with a bone with a lot of these sorts of things, and this has been like the longest chew on a bone I think I've ever seen.
I mean, when I was a kid, my parents tried to figure out why I was, why I was like that at school and stuff. And I think anybody with anything like ADD, ADHD, I was never like super serious, but I definitely had a bit of ADD going on there. You are like, you are just like looking for the next thing. But as soon as you find something that really catches your attention, you are locked in. I know this is like veering into other thing. This is why I'm so upset about like, I've had this conversation so many times because a lot of the time they'll get a kid like me and they'll pump it full of drugs and be like, oh, you can't concentrate on maths, we're going to make you concentrate on maths. And like my parents were like, nah, like he'll find what he's interested in. And I always did. I always found something that took me, maybe it took it for a year, maybe it took it for 3 years, but I feel like music's the thing I found that is just, it will never change. You know what I mean? And had I maybe been pumped full of Ritalin or something as a kid, maybe I would have been still taking Ritalin and I'd be working on Wall Street or working in like, in an office, just really unhappy, just, take it and then I'm all right doing it.
You done an IQ test as well, didn't you? There was some crazy number on an IQ test.
Yeah, like it was, I don't know what the number is, to be honest with you, but
84,
140, I don't know. I don't know. It could be. People will be commenting now.
There's your IQ test, all right.
I just remember the school calling my mum in and being like, "We did an IQ test, and he's got a really high IQ." So, but you know, what does that matter? Do you know what I mean? It honestly makes no difference.
Yeah, but you're really, again, just personal analysis. Like you'll be on the phone doing something. Like you're always writing emails. You're always busy. But then you're also having a conversation. I don't know women to be able to do that. Do you know what I mean? You're like completely like you in the same place and always you can do two things at once and you're just like constantly. So yeah,
I feel like I can do a lot of things. It's just sometimes I forget. Like I do things like I'll be like, oh yeah, I've got like an email I've got to send, and then I'll pick up my phone, and then there'll be like an important message, and then I'll reply to the message, and then put my phone back, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, I got to do the email, pick up the email, and then there'll be a tweet, and I'll reply to it, and then I'll put it back, and that goes on for like circle. Do you know what I mean? There's all these little things that I do, which are definitely like to do with my attention span and my focus and stuff like that. And sometimes I do have to just, get my phone away from me, or just like, that's why I like being in flight sometimes, because I can't, I can't. Sometimes I can't do it. I mean, you got TVs now, and but honestly, it's like that one time I have internet now most of the time.
I know. I was just going to say, like, we speak most of the time when you are on a plane nowadays, and also, tubes. Underground tubes are great for that as well.
Well, in China they got 3G. Yeah, they got 4G down there, so you're good to go. But no, I mean, it's definitely. I think everybody, whoever you are. It's like everyone's so different, and I think, just I don't know really. They just are. There we go. My focus and attention just rode off.
That wasn't your normal Jerry Springer thought for the day, was it?
Yeah. But no. But seriously, like everybody's so different, and the IQ test you were talking about, or like the fact that I ran here, there, and everywhere, it'll all figure itself out. Like you've just got to. I feel like you've just got to keep pushing the envelope until the point where something just sits. Because if you don't keep pushing the envelope, you'll never find what you're really good at.
Because we were talking to Andrew from Circus, your boy, and that's one thing he said about having management, wasn't it? It's like as a manager himself, he speaks on behalf of the management world when he says if you're an artist and you're pushing it to the point you almost know when it's time to have a manager, because they won't be able to help you any other time. That you think that if you've got like a point A and a point C, you can't bounce over that point B. You've got to really push to the ceiling with what you're doing, right?
I've definitely. I remember when I first started making music and I was chatting to you and you were saying, I was saying to you, like, I want to get a manager and an agent. And you were like, just keep making music and, it'll come when it comes kind of thing. And over time, I kind of learned that other people have to be excited about what you're doing. Yeah. Because they're basically saying, all right, I'm taking you on. I'm going to earn no money unless you earn money, because everyone, mostly management and agents work on commission, so they've got to be excited about you. You may not be famous; they may just be excited about your music and really believe in it. But you've got to do something, and I definitely kind of ran with that and got a little. And this is where it gets back to that whole ADD thing. I got super ridiculously focused on all of it, and and when I joined my management, he was like, at some point, you might have to give me a little bit of control over this because you're not going to have time. And
How'd you feel
that's
about
going to be
that?
hard for you. And it will be hard for me, honestly. Like, it will be, because things are getting busier and busier and busier. And social media does take, everybody knows social media does take time. Do you know what I mean? And you do need people around you helping you with that stuff. But I find it really hard when I've got control of something, letting even 50% of control of that. That's why sometimes I find it really hard working in the studio with another producer. Sometimes I have to work over the internet.
Yeah.
Because I want to be in the hot seat. I want to be making decisions. And if the other producer feels the same, it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
like
clash.
clashing heads. So but I mean, that's the good thing about, that's kind of part of the reason why I feel like things have got where they have in the last like 6, 7, 8 years. Is just because I've been smashing my head against the wall over and over again, and just people sometimes message me and they're just like, I've been watching you for the last 5 years and you're just relentless, and you just don't stop, and things just get better and better, and that it fills me with so much happiness when I see that. Do you know what I mean?
Production-wise, without question, like the stuff that you were doing, even I've seen it from inception, but when you see the progression of even the last 2 years. It's like, and I think I've asked you a couple of times, like, you got anyone else doing your mixes? And you're like, no.
Yeah.
You know, because I know what you're like in the studio. And
I get way too, when I come to a mix down, I start to honestly lose it a little bit, because I get so, the day after, the day I was leaving to basically leave my wife for 4 months, I'm getting hot in here. Yeah. I was in the studio.
Do that to you, didn't I?
I finished. No,
hot flushes, mate. Yeah, hot flushes.
I felt like the day I was leaving for 4 months, I suddenly listened to my EP, my new one, just on like a laptop on something, and I just lost my mind. There was stuff on every track. I just suddenly wasn't happy with it.
Was this just one when you came here and then there was like, you had to go into the studio, but what was that mixtape you did?
No.
You do it with every single one of these things.
This is the most recent one that's... Yeah. Shit, I've just announced I've got a new EP coming. There we go.
There you go.
But anyway...
exclusive.
But I just... And then once I'm just like... I remember the night before, I did it like 3 times. So the first time was the night before I was going to leave. And at about 12 at night, I just said, Lou, I've got to get out of bed. I've got to go in the studio, and I've got to fix this. So I literally went and spent like 3 more hours just like going through every track and fixing the things that I thought. I'm sure they were, if I've played them to people and they were like, they were, but for me, I just lock in, and I feel that's part of the reason why things have got better, because I never feel like it's not like, oh, another track, knock it out, done, see you later kind of thing. Sometimes I don't have a choice because of deadlines, but if I have that choice, I just strive to make everything better and better and better, and listening to it in other tracks and putting it in your sets with, 6 or 7 years ago, if I put it into a set with another person's track, like a other artist track, it would just sound like night and day, and I'd be like, oh my God, listen to that.
What am I doing wrong here?
Yeah, something's going wrong. And I feel like in a year I'll say that about now, and a year after that I'll say that about every year. It just gets better. But you've got to strive to be better and better, and in anything. I'm not talking about, I'm not just talking about music. I'm talking about everything. If you go and work in a 9 to 5 and you strive to be the best you can be every day, obviously you're going to go far. You know what I mean? It's simple.
It's relentlessness. Like when you... Here's the other thing as well. Like, you've got this whole Conrank army thing going on. Now, you talk about delegation. You've got like a whole bunch of girls like that are moderating that thing, right?
Girls and guys. Yeah.
Girls and guys.
Yeah.
Like how are you maintaining that? Like when you're in a situation like, oh, I've got to be in the studio. Like, I need this time to be in the studio. Like, how you delegate? How are you stimulating that?
That whole Conrank Army thing just blows me away. I'm just like, all of that stuff just blows. The fact that there's anyone out there that supports me that much, I can't even believe it. And so it's got to the point now where when I started that whole Conrank Army thing, it just started growing. I don't feel like I have to it doesn't feel like I'm doing a job. I just go on there and say, hey guys, how's everyone doing today? Like, if I have a really good morning, I'll be like, hey, how's everyone doing? Are you all feeling good today? And I'm just like chatting with them and seeing like, because I have bad days. They have bad days. Like people in the army have bad days. All my friends have bad days. And if I'm having a good day, I want to bring those people up. And so I just go on there and chat to them. And it's like a nice time for me to just like, the other day I was really pissed in the fucking airport lounge.
You
and
think?
I just went on. Yeah, I remember calling you. And being like, and I just went on the army and was just like, and it wasn't a job. It wasn't something I had to think about. I was just like, I just want to go chat with them. They're my friends. They're my supporters. They're like, and I want to support them and I want to chat with them. So I went on there and went, look, I'm really drunk. I'm in the airport lounge. Ask me anything. And there was like an hour of solid chatting. So it's not like it's not really like I feel like I'm delegating. I've got a little core group of them and we chat in a private chat and they, shout out to Jenna and Alex and Matthew, and
big shout gang, big shout.
They they're there if I do need something specific to help me with. Like we do like a special art post where people can post up like their own art or their own music and stuff like that. So they help organize that stuff. But it doesn't feel like I'm delegating or organizing something. It just feels like I've got this sick gang, like this sick crew who are just like. Just super supportive and just down to help. And I don't feel like I need to fire them up. I feel like they're just there for me, which is kind of believe.
And a lot of them are producers as well. A lot of them
there's a bunch of producers there. A lot of them are creative. A lot of them, whether they're like, some of them design their own jewelry, design pipes and
they did that badge. You had the badge competition and like loads of people doing designs.
That pin's sick. Like some kid made a bong like with Conrank, the glass said Conrank inside. Like there's just like just the thought of someone in another part of the world thinking to do something like that.
It's crazy
because I make music.
It takes a lot of time to do that shit too.
Yeah, like and it inspires and motivates me. It's like I feel some days I say something on there and they're like, dude, this has really picked me up today. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go in the studio and make some music. But and they're like, thank you for inspiring and blah, blah, blah. But I get exactly the same back because they're like talking about me or like, because sometimes they're in there talking about me as if I can't see it. And I'm like, thank God they're not saying anything.
It's true. Yeah.
But they, vice versa, they'll send me messages or post stuff up and I'm just like, it just does exactly. I'm like, right, back in the studio, can't wait to get ready. Or like now every show we do these meet and greets with everybody that's part of Conrank's army, and they come in and we take a photo. They come to shows and then we meet like backstage or at a space where it's big enough. And then we just take a photo all together and like hang out for a bit, spend half an hour hanging out, chatting. And it's wicked, man. I love that. I'm not down to, and I mean, I feel like that extends to my DJ sets. I love to properly, what's the word? I like to connect with the crowd. Like if you're head down, like, there's amazing DJs out there who are head down, and get on with it, and they connect with the music, and I hope I connect with the music too. But I do like to properly connect with them, and I get on the mic a little bit, and act a fool. That's just who I am. Like, so I think that whole Conrank Army thing's an absolute blessing. It's wicked.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is. Right. So when you're in the EP mode, or actually no, let's stick with the live thing. So when you're in live mode, you're going to LA, you go to rural parts of China, you go across to other countries in Asia, right? You'll be playing out stuff which I would probably guess is 80% yours.
Yeah, about 70.
Yeah. I've heard the mixes. I've been on the mixes.
Yeah.
But I'm a British act, and you work with a lot of British MCs and singers, and some of which, do they connect with an audience in China?
With China, I tell you what, in Shanghai, the grime scene is banging.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's mad. But anyway, but yeah, it definitely connects. I always feel like as long as you bring energy, especially in China, they want energy. Like some of the crowds you play to, they this is kind of like one of their first. If you go to certain parts of China, they haven't really been to an electronic like festival. So probably like 4 or 5 years ago, I played at some festivals where this is the first electronic festival in this city, and you have to get on the mic and do a bit of cheerleading and be like, get your hands up, and they do it, and then you stop saying get your hands up and they put them straight back down.
Yeah, totally.
But
I remember that. What was that place we played? It was
Kunming. That place is amazing. But every year it just gets better and better, and the kids connect more. And there's loads of sick music websites in China now, like Wang Yi and Xiaomi and stuff, and they're able to listen to music. So that a lot of the time they know music, and they're like, you go Kunming and they're coming up to you going like, oh wow, I heard you were on Rinse FM, and you're like, damn, like you're down near the Himalayas, in like the middle of nowhere,
and they're plugged in.
It is just about keeping the energy up. Like some of the crowds, if you try and do something a little bit and like take it down and go a little bit deep for a little bit, sometimes you'll lose them just because they're like, whoa, what's going on?
Oh yeah, and when you lose them,
maybe the only electronic music they know is like EDM. Yeah. Really hard, heavy, constant, like, so that's what they're expecting. So if you try and take them on a little bit of a journey, sometimes you can lose the crowd. But like,
is
you
that how to
keep the energy
compromise
levels
yourself?
up.
Do you feel compromised sometimes when you have to play those sort of EDM songs?
No. I mean, I don't. That's the problem. That's the problem. That's the point. Is that I don't play necessarily those EDM songs, but I keep the energy levels up with my own stuff and with just high energy stuff. Like it doesn't have to be
S Club stuff like that.
It doesn't have to, a bit of S Club 7 always standard. Yeah. But I just feel like if you keep the energy levels up, people that they get into it. And honestly, some of the places in China, like I took Plastician to Kunming, and he was like, he was just like, this is next level. I brought Black Twang to Shanghai, and he had a killer time. You came and toured with me and had a sick time. Like, China's sick. It's so much fun.
And like you were saying about the growth in scenes and them people growing into sounds, like I remember going out there in 2006. From there, I kind of went yearly, and then you moved over there, and I was over there quite regularly. You see the change, the generational shift of scenes, like they're getting really into it.
But you got to understand that we in the UK, it's electronic music is part of our history. Yeah, it's evolved. It's like we've evolved with it, and it's
part of the tapestry of it.
Somewhere like China, it's like you're just going, here it is. Here's electronic music. Like
here's 4 decades in your face. Here you go.
Yeah. Learn it.
Yeah.
Techno's doing really well out there, actually.
Really? Well, the scenes are big out there at the moment.
I mean, drum and bass is always kind of ticking over there.
Yeah.
Jane
Siesta.
Jane
Big up
Siesta's
Jane.
like, big up Jane. She's always like keeping things going, and there's loads of like, there's loads of techno stuff going on. Like, there's this whole Genome label that's doing this. It's kind of like post club grime stuff, which is really interesting. And Zine, my boy Zine, who, if you've listened to some of my music, you might have heard him on there with me.
Yeah.
He's killer. He's out there producing grime, and he's super dedicated to it. I mean, the kids out there that really want to know about it have to, especially like 10 years ago, I had to put in a huge amount of work to find out about it and figure out what was going on. So once they're locked in, they're locked in. Now it's a bit easier for them to find out what's going on in the UK or whatever. There's so many different platforms out there and so much, which is great. Like, and it is just ever expanding. And now, like, whereas when I first went to China, trying to find local kids, like making electronic music was really hard.
Right, stop
and
there.
now there's loads.
Stop there, because now we're at the point where I want to talk about something. Look at his face. Right, let's check it out. When you landed and you were trying to find your feet in China, can we explain what happened?
It was like a massive wave of relaxation and clarity.
And but I'm thinking maybe I need to be more specific.
I just remember landing and going to a park.
Yeah.
And then walking around with, like, I think I had some, like, a D-Bridge mix on my headphones. And just being like this massive decompression of, like, as much as I love London and I'm probably going to move back here again at some point. There's this decompression of being like, kind of, it was so quiet when I went there for some reason. I think it might have been just around Chinese New Year. So it was like really quiet, and especially in the evening, it was like super quiet. And I was just like walking down the street, and I was just like,
doesn't that feel remote though? Don't you feel like a little bit
amazing.
alienated?
It's like I knew nobody. Well, I knew a few people, but no one knew who I was. I didn't really know anyone. And there was just that real sense of just like being this faceless person walking down the street. And it was just like...
Right, okay, let me hone in. So you first got there, that happened.
I know you've got something you're trying to work towards.
Egg fried rice. Right, we need to talk about the egg fried rice story. And only you can tell it because you were there and it happened. And we were just on the other side here going, oh my God, he's blowing up. Explain what happened.
So... basically, long and short, some weird stuff happened, and I kind of got involved in going out to this area for a bit of a laugh and making some fried rice with a sign saying British fried rice, and I put together a little recipe. I just like added a couple of British things, like British like sausages and peas and things like that to the fried rice. And went and we got one of the local guys with his little cart to let me cook it up, and it went viral
because he's a Westerner.
Mad, It like millions of views, front page of all the big front page YouTube, essentially Chinese YouTube, national news. I remember this. I remember doing it
but not just any old national
search.
This is like locals. It was like
this is like proper big Chinese. It's like being
market.
It's like being on the Channel 4 News.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean. It was like
NBC or wherever. On like Fox News. Like it was like like big.
I'm talking the UK.
This is everywhere, mate. This is international, motherfucker.
So basically, I remember sitting there and like Googling my name, or Googling the name they'd given me, which is Chow Fanga, which means fried rice brother. And...
smashed it.
And I remember it just coming up with this link, and I clicked on it, and there's this like huge newsroom with like 3 anchors sitting there, and they're like, the Chow Fanga, and then suddenly there's me with my hat on and my no days off t-shirt. Yeah. Just like... cooking up fried rice.
And you always wore that no days off t-shirt in Tottenham. That's what was mad. It's like seeing you pretty much just being super exposed. It's like you just been like scooped out of Tottenham and just plonked straight in the middle of a Asian market.
It just suddenly went
crazy.
Yeah.
Did that?
It's mad. I've got to take my jumper off.
Oh, go on then.
Bring the pain.
So, with that in mind, is that a new Conrank t-shirt you're just putting out there? Is that a new Conrank t-shirt or something? Oh, right.
No, I'm not. It's no advertising.
It's no advertising going on. I see. Well, for those of you that aren't able to watch this, he's just stripped down to his bare bottoms. See, look, costume. And I've never had a guest that does a costume change like that. You see?
Oh man, it's hot in here. It's hot.
All right, you're back in the room.
Hot. So where were we? Yeah, so it was a mad thing, and honestly, I was scared. I had this like massive thing of paranoia for like a few days where I didn't want to go out, and then I went on my like Chinese Twitter, Weibo, and there was all these people just like commenting and messaging me, and like it just.
Were some people angry? Like, were the locals angry that you'd
Some people thought I was like making money off this guy, and I was like, I quickly replied and was like, any money that I made when I did that went straight to this dude. Like, I didn't take any money, and they were all thankful. But it was like people liked it. They weren't really upset about it. But we almost got chased by the police. Well, not the police. It was just like the
security around the area.
Yeah, the security around the area. Because what was happening was me being there was bringing a little bit too much attention to the area, and you're not really supposed to have these carts and stuff. So then security and police kind of come to the area, and then those other people get angry. So it was like the other people have to shut down for the night, so they lose money. So there was one time where we had this light on, we had the camera, because we were going to do like a second round of it, right?
I can imagine how this went out.
And we had to get out of there pretty quick. Yeah, it was pretty mad. But it was all. No one was like. It's not like I was scared for my life or anything. But it was just. I didn't want to disrespect the people that are doing their work and like cause them more problems.
Did it make a platform? Did it make a platform for your DJ career?
Yeah, it did in a certain way, because I've got like a bunch of followers now on my Twitter, my Chinese Twitter, but my Weibo, but a bunch of them are just there because of my fried rice and have no interest in my music at all.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's funny. I thought about like opening a restaurant. I thought, well, maybe I should play off this, but the whole way I was like, nah, it would just be, me like,
and it'll look wanky.
Dog with a bone.
Yeah.
And it wasn't me. Like, I don't want to run a restaurant. I don't want to, do you know what I mean? I want to just make music. So it was just, it just kind of went to the side, and I kind of wanted to put it to bed and like move on from that. So thanks for bringing that up.
That's all right. It's all right. Listen, these are the best bits. These are the juicy bits. These are the stuff that I know. Another interesting pop fact. Pot pickers is we used to work in the same petrol station. In Sussex, and it was my step auntie's petrol station. I don't even know how that worked. I don't even know how I even had a job. I don't know how anybody got me a job, but I had a job, and you lived next door to the petrol station.
I did,
and we used to beatbox down the antenna things.
Down the tannoys, and upset people.
Yeah,
there's other things we did which we shouldn't
to discuss. Yeah, no, we can't discuss because no, because although my step auntie is no longer my step auntie, my uncle is definitely my uncle.
His uncle will always be right. We didn't do anything, I promise. It was totally chill.
Nothing went on.
It was fun. Those were good times, man. Like, I feel like you and me have been. It's been like a roller coaster. Do you know what I mean? Like, honestly, it's mad. You think back at like where we've come from, how we met, the things that have happened between then and now. Like, it's pretty crazy.
And also, like, when you think about prior to you even DJing, you were on tour with me, filming everything. You were doing music videos whilst doing indelible stuff. Like, there wasn't many tours that you didn't document of mine. Like, when you go on YouTube, a lot of those videos are edited by you.
There's a lot. I went on the other day and I was looking up stuff, Deal Real Records, and it was like 80. My partner 80, business partner 80, like
shout out 80.
Shout out 80. Like, it was his footage, or like you go on and you find some breaking footage from Battle of the Year, and it's the stuff we shot and edited, and like, it's pretty mad. It's pretty mad. Like, it was like another chunk of my life, that was. I mean, I always believe that whatever happens in the past, like positive or negative, you break up with girlfriends, you get evicted from an apartment, you lose a job, whatever happens, I wouldn't be who I am now without every single positive or negative
it shapes
thing.
you, yes.
Yeah, like, if everything had gone to plan, I wouldn't be here now. Maybe that's a good thing, I don't know.
And then there was from that transitional thing of the video creating and editing, like, I just started up Spit Kingdom nights with Benny from Jack Beats.
Yeah, so I used to come and DJ there.
Yeah, with Paul Juan. Shout out Paul Juan.
Shout out Paul Juan. DJ Doe.
Big up DJ Doe.
Yeah, man. Like, I remember coming along to those Spit Kingdom nights, and
you were DJing for like a good hour and a half, like before.
Yeah, hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours.
Befores and afters.
Yeah. All vinyl. Didn't have anything. Any other option then. It was all vinyl. Yeah. I remember when I'm telling my age now. I remember when CDJs came in, and it was like, nah, these will be gone. These will be gone quick. Nah, that's all he is.
Yeah.
Or like, Serato. And you're like, what's this?
Yeah. It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes I see those poor poor late 40s DJ still coming in with these bags of vinyl, and I'm just feel.
Mate, I mean, look, keeping fit on tour.
Yeah.
You know
Bad back.
Yeah.
With the posture.
I'm pretty sure Andy C still.
I don't know actually.
Or did he change?
I think listen, anyone that hasn't changed is
Don't say that.
They're just so used to. No, I wasn't going to say anything.
You're say that anyone hasn't changed is a
No. It's a die-hard thing.
If you haven't changed and you've still got that passion to carry those around, I have nothing but respect. That's mad.
But it takes a lot of dedication, because once you've got those records in your bag, you can't go flit into another. You've got to read the crowd within the records. Yeah.
Amount of
give you can do.
Yeah, you can't change completely. I mean, depending how many bags you got, depending if you got a whole crew. But whereas I know I use record box, the USB, and I know I can kind of go in any direction. The other day in New York, I had 45 minutes left, and I was like, you know what, I want to switch it up, and I just did jungle set at the end.
Nice.
I feel like it's definitely. I tell you the other thing about coming from vinyl, and then learning Serato and Tractor, and then learning controllers, and learning Ableton, and learning CDJs. You will never be stumped.
Nothing's going to mess with you.
Yeah, I've had shows in China where I've turned up with my Tractor box and my laptop when I used to use Tractor, and then they're like, "Oh, we don't have CDJs," and I'm like, "Here's on my rider," and they're like, "Yeah, sorry, we don't have any, but we have vinyl," and I was like, "I don't have vinyl for my Tractor. I've only got CDs for my Tractor," and they're like, "Oh, you can use, you just use vinyl with my Serato box," and then I've got to transfer all my playlists over to his Serato. But at least you can do it. I remember playing in Seattle, and there was something wrong with the CDJs, and I ended up having to use a Pioneer DJ controller with the little tiny.
Oh damn!
That was tough. Yeah. But because you've kind of gone through that, you've tried everything and you've used everything. You're not just I'm stuck on that and I can only use that. Yeah. It means that you'll never be really up shit creek.
Because you've got the intuition of all the things you had before and all the things that you used.
Talking about Shit Creek, I'm watching Shit Creek at the moment. It's really funny.
What's this?
TV show.
No, but what is it?
It's about a family that are super wealthy, and their business manager messes them up, steals their money, and then they find out that they have one asset left, which is this, redneck town called Schitt's Creek, little tiny kind of poor town, and they have to move into this shitty motel. It's really funny. It's really good.
Man. Anyway, so Middle America kind of thing.
Yes, yeah, really good. Right. I love it, man. It's so good. It's my new thing.
Have you ever played those sort of places way out Middle America?
Man, I went and played in Tennessee. Yeah, Tennessee.
No, that's mad.
But right in it was crazy. It was near Nashville. It was a little bit away from Nashville, and Asheville was around there. And me and this producer called Yeti were on tour, and we had 3 days off. And this friend of Yeti's hit us up. This kid Ryan hit us up and was like, "Yo, I've got this big cabin out in the woods in the middle of nowhere. My landlord owns the land around it. It's private land, so no one can mess with this. Just come. We'll set up some CDJs. There'll be a bunch of friends. We'll just have a bit of fun, right?
Great, yeah.
And just in the living room. So I'm like, yeah, cool, sounds good. Yeah, he's like, yeah, let's do it. So then we get a call a day later, and he's like, it's gonna be really fun. We've got a couple of other DJs playing now, and there's gonna be I reckon 50 people there. Well, I'm like, sick, it's gonna be a sick house party. It's gonna be fun. So then closer to the time, we get this call, and he's like, I've rented 2 sound systems, and we're setting up these stages outside on the land. We've got 250, 300 people.
Shut up.
We're like, really? He he gave it a little name. I can't remember the name.
Wow.
Epiphany. I think it's called Epiphany. And we just rolled up the day of the party, and just this huge cabin, and just in the middle of nowhere. There's what you can see one neighbor.
That's amazing.
And we just had this massive party.
Rammed out.
madness.
I think I saw videos of it, and you were
Yeah,
totally
there's a video
dumbfounded
where
by it.
I'm just like, I'm super jet
What the
lagged,
hell's
super
going on?
tired, and I'm like, where am I? You know, what is it was sick. It was super sick.
Those kind of
And like these
experiences.
super local neighbours are like rolling in with like big bottles of locally like made
So
whiskey.
they weren't charging though. That you can
No,
just
no,
keep
it was
on-
all free.
Wow.
But you had to be invited, kind of thing. But some of the local neighbours like rolling up with like proper like Tennessee local neighbours,
Moonshine
like,
kind
rolling
of-
up. Yeah, with bottles of moonshine and being like offering to me, and I was like,
Yeah.
dangerous. I had some, and it was
You ain't from around here, are you,
was
boy?
really good.
Yeah. Was it good?
Yeah, it was awesome.
think
And
I've
like
had moonshine.
everyone, all the neighbours was super friendly, and the shows in Nashville and Asheville was sick.
Yeah, I
it was, and Knoxville. We were super close to Knoxville, but it was mad. It was just like all these little things just happened. But I tell you what, like everybody I've met in America so far have been so nice.
Yeah.
So nice. Like everybody's just so like giving and welcoming and like friendly, and the crowds are like super open to what you like, however you want to go. Like they're just they're down. They're there.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Those life experiences that you get from being on the road, they really shape your perception of like what a place is. It's like some people go on holiday and they go and see a site, and that's how they document their experiences of being there. But when you're dealing with people, and when you put in situations, and like you really are, it's not even you get an honest perspective of a place, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know how it is. You land in a city you've never been to before. Some person you've never met before picks you up at the airport. Then you're in a hotel for 2 hours or 3 hours. Then you go for dinner with a bunch of people that you've never met before. But, you know, by the end of the night, you're all friends and everything's
bubbling,
lovely, and you can't wait to come back again, you know? It's, you just kind of get used to it, kind of, you know? I mean, it is like that whole age-old thing of like, oh, you're so lucky you get to travel everywhere. And you're like, well, not. Yeah and no, you know, kind of. But then there is the odd thing where I'll suddenly have like I played a few shows in Florida, and this kid Mystic Grizzly, it's a producer, did the shows with me, and I just got my driving license back. I didn't lose it for anything bad, but just got it back. And
Didn't go anywhere, dude. No, in fact, nothing even happened with it, did it? Nothing bad.
yeah.
Go on.
And he let me drive his soft top car like from like 7 hours down through Florida down to Miami, and then we cruised around South Beach in Miami with the top down and stuff.
the
And I was
best.
just like, this is
where it should be.
This is it. This is good. There's been some really fun little experiences.
Actually, let me just hold that thought for a second, because you know when you talk about Doshi, right?
Doshi,
And Yeti, Champagne Drip, Eunice,
G Jones,
G Jones,
Jones,
these,
Bass Nectar,
yeah,
those guys.
Space Jesus, all these guys. I mean, they're just names to a lot of us. Like, I mean, I know them, but when you talk about this, it's just such a macro scene.
Well, it's not that
of heavy
macro,
dubstep,
and it's so solid. It's so like you would not believe how dedicated
predominantly
the scene is.
predominantly dubstep.
Bass music, they're like, you know, there's like a big down tempo scene, like trip hop and stuff, like Tipper. Have you heard of Tipper?
Yes.
Is
dubstep
but it's all
a dirty
like,
word?
It's no, not at all. Okay. And it's all. I quite like it in the fact that you'll go to, you know, the kids in the scene, that they'll listen to like rhythm. I know people are against that word, but they'll listen to like real tear out dubstep. They'll listen to the more kind of like weird stuff that I make. They'll listen to super deep dubstep, like Truth or Mala or something like that.
I like Mala.
And then and then they'll go and watch a trip hop set, and then they'll go and be banging to watching like Plastician play a grime set or wave set, and like they're really open to all the different sounds. You know what I mean? Like there's the scene there is so encompassing in like such a nice way. Like everybody, it's not like, oh, you're not part of this scene. It's like, hey, get involved, you know. And it's really dope.
So you define it as bass music as an international?
Yeah, bass music. Like the bass music scene in America is pretty special, man. It's pretty sick. Like, you know, I have to say as well, like, just the music scene in the UK. I've got to bring it back quickly to the UK because, well, dubstep, you know, the birth of.
Yeah, that's right.
I tell you what, talking about that, coming back after being away for so long and like switching on the radio and just seeing everything that's going on in the UK scene is just so strong right now.
It's crazy. It's
Sick.
mad how like I mean, I think we talked about this. It's like sometimes you put the radio on. It's like you just don't know half the acts because they're so fresh coming out the traps, so new. You've got to stay bang on top of it. It's crazy.
I remember listening to the radio many years ago, and just it was probably like 80% American acts. 20% British acts, and I feel like it's flipped.
It's totally flipped.
It's like I
was talking to Margaret about this as well.
I'll be listening to One Extra, and I'll be like every track, and then suddenly like Drake will come on, or suddenly like I don't know, like Migos will come on, and you'll be like, oh, you'll be suddenly catch you by surprise. You'll be like, oh, it's interesting,
yeah.
Where it's pretty mad. I'm so happy. I'm so proud of it, man. Like not that don't be proud of myself. I'm proud of everybody that's made it. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
does it resonate? Does that kind of attention that the UK radios bring to grime and bass music, does that resonate into other countries? I mean, you said that some places like in China know of Rinse
digital
FM.
Radio, man. Like
so
you
it's
can
just
get it everywhere, can't you? So
of course,
like. If you, in America, obviously they know about Radio 1, they know about One Extra, they know about Rinse, and they I mean, it's I tell you what, we are so lucky to have the radio stations we have, because you listen to half the radio stations in America, it's literally 2 songs, 5 minutes of talking, which is actually them talking about products to each other. Subtly, and then 30 minutes of adverts, it feels like, and then really? 2 more songs.
2 songs.
Like, the advertising is mad. Like it's like you're rolling
Songless,
along, and sometimes there'll be like 10 songs in a row, and then you'll get 30 minutes. Literally, sometimes I'll listen to a few songs on the radio, and then the adverts come on, and I can go to another station, listen to another 10 songs, go back, and the adverts is still rolling.
Wow.
It's like, this is crazy. We're so lucky. When you come here and you listen to One Extra, I was just listening to BBC Radio 6. Sick.
Well, there's a couple. There's a couple like that.
And you just, it's just like music.
Totally.
Music.
But there are. I mean, I've got to shout out KCRW in LA, because they're an independent radio station that very much like Six Music.
Yeah, that's sick.
But it's really hard, like you say. I mean, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not talking about all of them.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying, like, we are super lucky to have, like, that backbone of like radio where you can just listen to music, and you can go and listen to like Radio 6 and hear just like music and interviews and just like. I feel like when I listen to Radio 6, it's like an education sometimes. Music, you know what I mean? I'm just finding out about all these weird potholes.
Because they have these little documentaries in the evening as well. Yeah. But at the same time, if you are a fan of listening to nothing but commercials, then go to America.
Yeah, that's true.
Some people love that shit.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid. I used to love, because commercials were so rare. I used to love them because there was that period where there was like really funny commercials, like really funny adverts. And I remember making a video. I remember when we first got like a VHS player
of just commercials,
and then watching it. Yeah, and I loved it. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, totally.
It's so weird. Such a weird.
So how long? Well, actually, let's not talk about how long you've been in England, because this.
I mean, I still class myself as,
British.
I feel like I'm based here, based China, based LA.
Yeah.
Like, I'm coming back here more and more. Like, family's super important. Yeah. Obviously, I've got my family. I've got my wife and my dog in China. Yeah. But, and I've got my family here, and I need to spend time with them. So I still feel like. I'm coming back here at some point. My wife loves it here. And like since last summer, I have definitely started to base myself more here and like spend more and more time here.
That's nice to know. Sure. Means we can hang out more. Right, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard it here first.
Guys, is that it? Is that it?
Yeah,
it's
what
finished.
Do you want?
Oh, I could talk loads more.
Yeah, I bet you could. They all say that. Killa Kela Podcast. This is the mighty Conrank. Thanks for stopping by, Breda.
Much love.
Look after yourselves, all right?
How's that? It's fine. I feel like I opened myself up a little bit too much.